Today in Chicago, Illinois, a heated standoff at BP's Whiting refinery, allegations of violence on both sides, and a chorus of state treasurers pushing for an end to the lockout. I'm Dean Bark, and welcome to the City Report here in Chicago. Let's open with the big one. BP and the United Steelworkers are in a bitter dispute at BP Whiting refinery, a major regional fuel producer just outside the city. United Steelworkers Local 7-1 is the union representing refinery workers there. The headline: allegations of violence, finger-pointing on both sides, and an urgent call from state finance officials to end a lockout that's now dragging on. BP says some union members engaged in unlawful behavior during the lockout. The union says BP's own security guards were violent and points to security footage they say backs that up. BP, for its part, says it's unaware of the circumstances the union describes. Call it like it is. These are allegations, and they're disputed. Here's the timeline. March 17th, BP says the union hasn't agreed to a meeting since that date. March 18th, the union sent a letter saying it wanted to negotiate. And on April 16th, state treasurers from Illinois, Connecticut, California, and Colorado, the officials who manage state funds and investments, sent BP a letter urging an end to the lockout, citing risks to state economies and tax revenues if fuel supply takes a hit. Both sides say they're willing to talk, yet no agreement has materialized since mid-March. Meanwhile, the broader concern is straightforward. If operations stay constrained, fuel distribution can tighten, and that ripples into prices, trucking, and ultimately tax receipts. That's the headline, and that's why state finance chiefs are weighing in. Opinion: it's baffling how a resolution hasn't been reached despite the clear economic implications. Someone, somewhere, is going to look back and wish a meeting had been scheduled sooner. Looks like someone forgot the memo. Moving on. In East Chicago, Stephanie Alvarado, 35 years old, has been sentenced to 1 year of probation after pleading guilty to battery on a person under 14 years of age. That plea comes after prosecutors dropped older child molesting charges they said they could no longer prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Alvarado's case spans more than a decade. Prosecutors say the abuse period ran from 2013 to 2015. In November 2015, she pleaded guilty in a separate matter tied to a fistfight. A decade later, in November 2025, the child molesting trial ended in a mistrial. On February 20th of this year, she pleaded guilty to the reduced charge of battery, and on April 16th, she was sentenced to probation. Another key figure here is Andres Guerra, Alvarado's former boyfriend. Guerra was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 80 years in prison for child molesting tied to the same period. In Alvarado's case, Deputy Prosecutor Dhyan Rajamohan described the plea as evidence-based, underscoring the difficulty of proving older allegations, especially when time, memory, and documentation work against a clean courtroom narrative. There's also disputed terrain. At one point, the defense argued the victim fabricated accusations after a fight with Alvarado. The court moved ahead on what it could substantiate, battery, while dropping the original molesting counts. Opinion: the justice system's inability to prove severe accusations can be both surprising and troubling, but it's a reminder that burden of proof isn't a slogan, it's the standard. Let's pivot to the next story. Ford City Mall, one of Chicago's long-standing shopping centers, is set to close its main mall over safety concerns. The owner here is Namdar Realty Group, a company known for acquiring distressed retail properties. City officials say the building has emergency-level issues: a malfunctioning fire suppression system, recurring flooding, and electrical problems. Only 16 stores remain in the main mall, and some tenants, including JCPenney, asked for more time, either to fix issues inside their space or to wind down in an orderly way. The city cites urgent conditions. Inspectors detailed multiple hazards in a filing on April 10th. By April 16th, the city and Namdar reached an agreement to shutter the main mall while the problems are addressed. A quick boundary check. The North Mall and the Outlot stores are not covered by the shutdown order. A follow-up court hearing is set for April 23rd. The disagreement now is about necessity and timing. Tenants argue for more runway. The city says life safety systems can't wait. Well, that's one way to look at it. When the sprinklers don't work, the calendar doesn't matter. Context matters. Ford City opened in 1965 in a repurposed factory complex that, back in the 1940s, built B-29 bombers. In May 2024, the city cited the broken fire suppression system. The broader insight is familiar. Online retail continues to batter traditional malls, and deferred maintenance is harder to hide when foot traffic thins. Opinion: the decline of Ford City Mall tells a larger story about brick and mortar's tough math in the digital age. Shifting gears. In Evanston, the City Council, Evanston's local legislative body, has adopted new fines for landlord violations of the Residential Landlord-Tenant Ordinance, up to $1,000 per day. The goal: real teeth for tenant protections that until now were unevenly enforced. Alderman Jonathan Newsma, a member of the City Council, reversed course this week and supported applying fines across the entire ordinance, which cleared the way for passage on a 6-3 vote on April 16th. Previously, Evanston's code did include a general penalty, $20 to $750 per day, but it wasn't tailored to the landlord-tenant framework the way this overhaul is. The Quadrell Evanston Tenants Union, a tenant advocacy group, represents renters in buildings owned by Quadrell Realty Group, a property owner accused by tenants of code violations. Their pressure campaign tracks with this shift. One more detail: since January 1, 2025, Evanston has also limited landlord fees to the reasonable cost of the actual expense, and this fine structure tightens the screws on violations of that kind too. Not everyone agreed. Some council members argued the real issue is enforcement capacity, not a lack of rules. But civil actions can be slow and pricey, and the city's view is that on-the-spot penalties move behavior faster. Opinion: applying fines across all sections is a bold move that could set a precedent for tenant protection. Let's not overcomplicate this. Clarity plus consequences often beats paperwork plus patience. Quick recap. BP and the United Steelworkers remain locked in a tense standoff at Whiting as state treasurers urge a resolution. In East Chicago, Stephanie Alvarado received probation in a case where older molesting charges were dropped, while her ex, Andres Guerra, is serving 80 years. Ford City Mall's main mall is closing over safety hazards as tenants seek more time. And in Evanston, landlords face fines up to $1,000 a day for code violations. This has been the City Report with Dean Bark here in Chicago. Stay informed and join us again tomorrow for more local news. Have a great day.